Want to know why that Steelers defense always getting torched and been getting torched for the last year and a half? I'm going to tell you the truth. When you got a defense that's making $170 million and the next closest defensive salary is $25 million less, and you're still looking like the Cincinnati Bengals defense that does not have a name on it, besides Trey Hendrickson, it's because of Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin has one of the most out-of-date defenses I've ever seen. There's no disguise to the defense. There's no rotations to the defense. All he wants to do is run this cover one single high, and teams expose it. Now, you would think with players like TJ Watt and, the additions of the Jaylen Ramseys and the veterans like Darius Slay, and you signed Patrick Queen last offseason, you would think this defense would be an elite defense. I heard these guys say that this was going to be a historic defense. Well, it is a historic defense. It is. The highest paid defense in history is out here getting smoked for 30 points a game. Yes, it's only 2 games. It's 15 more games to go. But this isn't just a one-off. This is a trend. The last 6 or 7 games from last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers was giving up massive amounts of points, massive amounts of rushing yards, and massive amounts of passing yards. I mean, Joe Burrow, every time Joe Burrow saw the Pittsburgh Steelers, he was throwing for 350 or more. Any team that saw the Pittsburgh Steelers defense got destroyed. And Mike Tomlin and a lot of media pundits was saying, hey, Mike don't have the horses. Well, this offseason, Omar Khan went and picked all the groceries for Mike Tomlin to cook. And he's still out here making Spam sandwiches. That's because he is terrible at being a defensive coordinator. He comes from the Tony Dungy system, the Tampa 2 system, and that was cool for a point in time. Even Tony Dungy, when he was with the Indianapolis Colts, them teams were never known for their defense. But I guess he did the best he could with those defenses because all the resources was allocated to the offense with Peyton Manning and Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison and all those guys over there. So that's kind of understandable. But they did have Dwight Freeney and the Bob Sanders and all those guys over there, and the Antoine Betheas and those guys. So they had a couple pieces. The Pittsburgh Steelers have went out and they have went shopping. And they've been shopping the last few years. Defense. And their defense is terrible. I mean, what do you expect? You have Jaylen Ramsey, one of the most physical corners in the league. You drafted Joey Porter out of Penn State, Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State, a physical corner. Darius Slay, he's a little long in the tooth, but he's still a pretty physical corner. And you got these guys playing 15 yards off the ball. Well, that's any quarterback or offensive coordinator's dream because when they see 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20, they know that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be, the corners are going to be 15 to 20 yards off the ball, and all they got to do is run slants on them. And that's exactly what they do. And then they run slants, and then the linebackers, because they're not, the corners aren't carrying the wide receivers because they're not putting any type of pressure on the wide receivers. The wide receivers are dictating the whole play. The linebackers got to go try to catch these fast wide receivers and then they're running for 30 yards. So that 3rd and 17 that you created is now a 1st and 10 for the offense because Mike Tomlin's defenses are prehistoric. And everybody's wondering, well, what's wrong with TJ Watt? What's wrong with TJ Watt? His last 6 or 7 games last year, he was like he's falling off a cliff. And this year, he got a couple plays in, but he's not getting the sacks like he usually gets. That's because everybody knows what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do. Everybody knows what they're going to do. Myles Garrett in Cleveland. Myles Garrett is one of the most dominant, freakish athletes in the world. Very hard for any offensive tackle to pick him up, especially with him getting his hand fighting and everything down at this point. But even Jim Schwartz moves Myles Garrett around to give offenses a different look. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin has not moved TJ Watt around. I'm trying to think. I probably can count on my hands how many times TJ Watt has been moved around. So what they do, they chip him, they slide the protection, and they beat up TJ Watt. They know where he's coming from. We're going to adjust our routes to him. Then the offense, all they got to do is run all types of little man beaters on them cover ones that the Steelers be running. This is why they got rid of Minkah Fitzpatrick, because Minkah Fitzpatrick was useless in the Pittsburgh Steelers system. I mean, you got him all the way in Philadelphia trying to cover in Pittsburgh. So his services wasn't even being used. So it was a good trade to move on from him and bring Jaylen Ramsey in. But the Steelers act like in order for us to be great, we need that alpha dog corner. And you got him, and you still got him playing like he Othello Witherspoon. So you're not even using these pieces that you bring in to their strengths. And when quarterbacks see the Pittsburgh Steelers on the schedule now, they're licking their chops because they know they're going to throw for 350 on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they can't stop the run. They can't stop the run. The 2 games that they played this year, both games, one game went over 200 yards rushing, and I think the Seattle Seahawks was close to 200 yards rushing. I mean, the holes were massive that the Seattle Seahawks were creating because they run this basic vanilla defense. When the last time you seen a disguise in a Pittsburgh Steelers defense? What, when Dick LeBeau was there? Mike Tomlin cried about not having the horses, and Omar Khan, to his credit, has made moves to get Mike Tomlin everything he wanted, and he's still screwing it up. This is an ego trip. You had Brian Flores in the building. You brought him in. And when Brian Flores was there, that was the best that defense had looked in a few years. But you let him go and go take a defensive coordinator position in Minnesota. And do you see how the Minnesota Vikings defense has looked the last 2 years? What Mike Tomlin is doing, this is sabotage. This is not Terrell Austin running the defense. This is Mike Tomlin's defense. And when it works, he's all about, yeah, we did it. But when it looks bad, it's like, yeah, Terrell Austin did it. Terrible look. Terrible look. Here's what I suggest. If I'm the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I tell Mike, this is your last year. This is your last year. I've given you everything you wanted, and you are not delivering. Mike Tomlin can't develop talent. I mean, he had Caleb Johnson returning kicks. He about as big as Najee Harris trying to return kicks. And then you're mad because he muffs a punt, a kickoff return. Well, he shouldn't be back there to begin with. So, like I said, this Pittsburgh Steelers team, with Mike Tomlin at the helm, is a train wreck. And this is why he wants to go get all these veterans, because he wants these veterans to clean up his rookie mistakes that he making in his 20th year as a head coach almost. Right? He ain't 20 years, but he close. He's not changing. It's like an old dog can't learn new tricks. And that's what's happening with Mike Tomlin. Schematics is awful. They're awful. And watch, he go come out here in New England Sunday, and Drake May, mark my words, Drake May has not looked good in the first 2 games of this season. Drake May go throw for over 300 yards. And don't even get me started on Travion Henderson. I don't know what he gonna do. He might run for 150 and receive for about 100. He probably gonna break some type of record, because the Pittsburgh Steelers gonna still run out this old predictable defense that offensive coordinators are salivating to get their hands on. I bet you when they look at the tape, like, oh, we go score 40. This is easy work. And remember, y'all saying Mike Tomlin is a defensive genius. I'll let you hold that one. Am I overreacting? Let me know in the comments below. Or does Mike Tomlin need to just give up trying to be a defensive coordinator and actually be a CEO and let somebody else handle the defense? Put it in the comments below. Because me personally, it's time to take that dog out the pasture. To the next video.